Oh, this is a three-peat performance. Okay, this is the third time that Ms. Turner is here speaking to students at Naaman Forest. I don't know how many three-peat performances she does, but I'm sure she does a whole lot less of those than single performances. You know how many three-peats you do?
Never. I don't think I ever did.
So we're the first.
Not yet.
Okay. So we are fortunate to have someone of her caliber here to talk to us about the Constitution. And rarely do we have that opportunity to have a person who is the bearer of the author of the book. The author of the book is her daughter. Her daughter wrote this book when she was 14 years of age. So don't say that teenagers can't do anything. They can. She's now a freshman in college. And she wrote this book for young people. If you look through it, and when she'll take you through it, there's things like, why do I need to know this? Which a lot of you ask. Why do we need to know history? Well, she answers those questions regarding the Constitution. And it breaks down the Constitution in every article, clause, section, and clause, and explains it in language that you can understand. And those of you who had my class, we had that assignment of going through our Constitutional Rock, the assignment I gave you, so you can at least get a little flavor of the book. But again, we're happy to be here, so please put all your electronics away and out of sight. Give her your attention, and enjoy the show. So would you please welcome Ms. Janine Turner.
You awake? Yeah, no. Who got up in the dark? I know, it's crazy. First of all, where's Mr. Cherry? I want to thank Mr. Cherry for asking me to be here for a three-peat. I also want to acknowledge Mrs. Watkins and Coach Vine and the great teachers you have here. And Mr. Cherry, I have the utmost respect for Mr. Cherry. And at our event on September 17th, can anybody tell me why that day is important? What day is it? September 17th. Constitution Day. Now you'll never forget. We're going to find out why that's so important. We honored Mr. Cherry with an award, and today I'm going to actually give him a trophy and a check. But I forgot the check, so this is blank. But you will get the real one. And here's his trophy. We awarded Mr. Cherry with the Harold Simmons Award for Excellence in Constitutional Teaching. And he is also receiving a $1,000 check. Right. Actually, I'll take that back. But he will be getting a $1,000 check, which was FedEx to me, and for some reason in the dark this morning, I forgot it, unless it's in the recesses of my car, which is awesome. So let's give him a big hand. He really
I don't do math very well.
But he is very, very dedicated to history and to our founding documents. So, okie dokie. My name is Janine Turner. I am the founder and co-chair of Constituting America. This is Hal Kozar. He's our technical guru. And we're going to have fun. Believe it or not, we will have fun. I have prizes, and I have cool videos to show you, and we have a contest. And if you want Mr. Cherry or Mrs. Watkins or Coach Vine to win next year, if all of you enter our contest, they have a chance of winning next year. Or Mr. Cherry could win 2 years in a row. It could be a two-peat. Is that a word? So I am going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm here. I'm an actress. Anybody like to go to the movies or watch television? Yeah. Let's go. Netflix you do now, right? Yeah. Netflix and what? Chill. Chill?
It's a saying.
Oh, chill, like chill out? Oh! I thought that was a new thing, like Twitter or Vine that I hadn't heard of yet. But it is? No. Oh, okay. Anyway, were y'all born in 1990? When were you born? 2009. Yeah, okay. We're born in 1990. I had a hit television show called Northern Exposure on CBS for 5 years. Soon it will be on Netflix. If you go home to your parents and say, there was this woman speaking with us today, and she starred in the TV show where the moose went through the opening credits, and this took place in Alaska, your parents will probably remember the show. So, and you can maybe turn off. So this is Northern Exposure. Oh, see the moose? Yeah, we had opening credits where Isabel Alaska, I played an Alaska Bush pilot. And then I've done a lot of things. Has anyone ever seen the movie Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone? You know Rocky, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cliffhanger, hanging from the cliffs. That was me. We were at the highest point in the Italian Alps right there. That's me. Yeah, short hair, long time ago, 1992. Has anyone ever seen the movie Leave It to Beaver? That was me. I was June Cleaver right there. I also did a movie with Chuck Norris. You all know who Chuck Norris is, right? A Knight Rider 18. Friday Night Lights. Anybody watch Friday Night Lights? I was Katie McCoy in the 3rd season. I had my son who was the football star and the husband who beat up my son. And I cried. And y'all remember that? Yeah. So I'm an actress. Now you may be wondering why I'm here and why I'm involved in the United States Constitution. Well, when I was 8, my dad, by the way, was a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. He was from Athens, Texas. And back then at West Point, in the class of '57, it was only Air Force, or it was Air Force and Army because they didn't have the Air Force Academy yet. So my dad was one of the first to fly Mach 2. You know what Mach 2 is?
Yeah.
Twice the speed of sound. That was a big deal in the 1960s. So he was sort of a test pilot, and he flew this B-58 Hustler. Which was a very, very famous aircraft, which was up at 50,000 feet going twice the speed of sound. So anyway, I was raised in a military family. Anybody here, families in the military, the armed forces? Very nice. Thank you. That's a family commitment. Appreciate that very much. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, we didn't talk about politics much, but when I was 8 years old, I looked up at my dad and I said, Dad, if our founding fathers were to come back today, what would they be most disappointed about? What 8-year-old thinks like that, right? So I guess I've always had 2 passions. One was for the arts, and the other is for our founding documents. You want to know what his answer was, by the way?
What?
No, it wasn't. No.
You went around.
He wasn't around that. Yeah, exactly. Taxes. He said our founding fathers would be disappointed about taxes. They never wanted our income to be taxed. They want, we taxed other things, but never our income. Do you know what amendment, by the way, changed our United States Constitution to start taxing our amendments? Taxing our paychecks?
Guys, which amendment?
16! That's so good! Woo-hoo! Okay. Let's get a prize. Do you want playing cards? Do you want playing cards or a t-shirt? Okay, here we go. I'm impressed. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I also live in Texas. My dad's from Athens, my mom's from San Antonio. I obviously lived in New York and LA. I was in New York at 15, LA at 17, but I moved back in 1995, and now I live on a ranch near Oklahoma. That's where I drove in from this morning, but it's not Oklahoma. It's up there sort of south of Gainesville, at Lake Ray Roberts early. And I raised cattle, and these are my Longhorns, and even back then in the early 1990s, I named my cows Revolution. That's Revolution and Liberty. Yeah. Now I have some Angus cows. I named them Henry Lee, after Richard Henry Lee and Patrick Henry. You know who Patrick Henry was?
Yeah.
Give me liberty or give me death?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Richard Henry Lee was the one who put the Declaration in front of the Continental Congress to declare a Declaration of Independence, a resolution. So we named him Patrick Henry is the name. Henry Lee is the name of our boy. Is this so exciting? I'm so excited. But I have to tell you because it's kind of fun. I named his wife Martha Washington. Their daughter is now Abigail Adams, and their son is Hamilton Adams. Now I can't sell any of my Angus cattle, right? Because I've named them, and they are after our founding fathers. Okay, but we're here to talk about the Constitution, and as we say in Hollywood, enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think about me? Get it?
Yeah.
It's funny. You're not laughing. Let me try that again. Enough of what we say in Hollywood. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? Okay, very good. Are we awake? Okay, so we have a contest. If you enter the contest, you get $1,000 yourself. You also get a trip to Hollywood this year, and you get to meet a mentor. We have a category for everybody. We have best short film. Any budding directors in the room? Anyone like to make little movies or act or write scripts or direct? Short film. We have best song. Any singers in the room? Rapper? I'm going to show you some rapping. We have rapper winners.
It's pretty good.
We have best public service announcement, which is like essay, best essay. No, best public service announcement is like best commercial. I'm going to show you some of those too. And we also have best essay. Now, who likes STEM? Science, technology, engineering, math. If you want to create an app or do a game or go out there and do a statistical survey, if you want to do a photography, at Constituting America we have every opportunity to join our contest possible. Once again, if you all send in one, Mr. Cherry or Mrs. Watkins or Coach Vine could win $1,000 next year. And you get to meet really cool people. Do you know Forrest Gump? The movie? Remember Lieutenant Dan? Well, our winners, not this year, but last year, got to go out to Hollywood and meet with Lieutenant Dan, Gary Sinise. What we want to do is propel your career. So and we've given you every category. And what we'll do is your essays we publish in a major newspaper or the U.S. News and World Report, which is like Time Magazine. Your songs, we hire a record promoter, and our song winner has now been heard on 24 million impressions. Our best public service announcement, which is like a little commercial, we send it out. We call regionally and nationally to get it. It's been in 2 million homes. So we want to kind of propel your career. And let me tell you something. When I was your age, and I wanted to be an actress or whatever field, and I had to have the opportunity to get that kind of exposure and to meet people like this year, they've had a studio head. We also re-record your songs in a major studio and promote them. So, but we have STEM too. We have every category you could possibly want to. I'm going to show you a clip now of these winners. And this is what we call our impact video. And you'll see a little bit of them there in the video. Yeah. He mastered the control.
Started yelling for me to come in the living room, and so I walked in there and my PSA was playing on TV.
in an entertaining way, as we've seen through music, through PSAs, through short films, and through speeches. It's all done organically from an entertainment aspect. There's definitely that entertainment aspect in it, and that is where most people are being influenced today.
I've been inspired by this trip to be more active because I learned that a lot of people don't understand that the Constitution is here to protect our rights, because that's something I really didn't know before the trip. But now that I have that knowledge, I'm more inspired to teach everybody, especially the younger people, because they're the future of our generation in this country.
So all those kids were winners. And the song there is our best song winner for this year. Now, have you heard of the Barack Obama School for Male Leadership in Dallas? Have you heard of that school?
Nope.
Well, I spoke there and I gave an hour and a half, two classes. I gave an hour and a half speech like I'm doing today, and then I gave another one. And by the time I finished the first one, 3 young men had come back into the room and they had already written a rap song. So Coach Mack, who is their teacher, videotaped their entry. And if you listen, you can hear how they incorporated everything Juliet, my daughter, was with me that day, but everything we said, they incorporated. They're really dealing with our First Amendment rights into their rap song. Well, they were entered into the contest and they won. And so then all 3 of them got a trip to Nashville, and this year we're going to Hollywood, but they got a trip to Nashville. They met with Laurie White, who's a Grammy Award-winning singer and record producer. We redid their songs, we re-recorded their song, and we made a music video. So this is cool for 2 reasons. One, if you want to enter, but just to see what other kids are doing, like you, who really do appreciate the United States Constitution, understand its value, and then they can take it and turn it into some sort of work. And as I said earlier, you can do STEM or you can do the arts. So here we go. Then we give you a little sample. Can we turn it up? You did. We'll do a little sample of what in their classroom. This is their entry to enter the contest. Good. Oh, good.
Fun.
Ready, and I'm ready. You ready to go? I'm ready. He said, okay, yeah, let me be me. Show you what your eyes can see. Yeah. Let me be free. I'ma believe what I believe. Yeah. Let me be free. You believe what I wanna believe. Let me be me. Show you what your eyes can see. Yeah. Believe what I believe. The rights entitled to me says that I can be a Christian or a Buddhist to believe. See the First Amendment right? Protect you day and night. And the freedom of religion. What I'm feeling is be some type of by the Constitution. If you don't, man, you true. The First Amendment rights. That's the first one is religion. And the next one is assembly. If you really listen. And man, I like to listen. Yeah, pay attention. And if you in that office and you don't pay attention and nobody likes you, that's where we get that petition. And I can say you wrong and the pastors they can preach. Cause Amendment number 1 says the freedom of speech. Let me
Yeah, so you get the idea, right? You already had everything in there, like petitioning, and if we don't like you as a president, then we can like petition to get. Okay, so now here's their professional music video that we did with Constituting America with us. These are all footage where they were on the trip and recording.
Oh, let me be free to believe what I wanna believe. Let me be me. Show me what your eyes can see. Oh, let me be free. the First Amendment rights, protected day and night. The freedom of religion, what I'm spitting be so tight. Abide by the Constitution, if you don't, man, you tripping. The First Amendment rights, perhaps the first one is religion. The next one is assembly, if you really do listen. And man, I like to listen. Yeah, I pay attention. And if you in that office and you don't pay attention, and nobody likes you, that's what we get that petition. And I can say you wrong, and the pastors that can preach, cause Amendment number 1 says the freedom of speech. JP. Let me be free. Could believe what I wanna believe. Yeah, let me be free. Show me what your eyes can see. Oh.
My country was built upon a revolution. Cannons blasting, guns shooting for this thing we call a constitution. They like, what it is? What is that? I'm like, sit back and relax. I'ma tell you all about that in this here little rap. My founding fathers are the authors of this document. Amendments, keep me free out the penitence. Doing sentences, Washington, Hamilton, Jefferson, Franklin. Got hundreds in my pocket, so you know I ain't with it. First Amendment, free my speech, free my rights, free to believe in whatever I want from Allah to the G. OD and freedom of petition, finally freedom of assembly, so we can get together. Let our voices say,
let me be free to believe what I wanna believe. Let me be free. Show me what the eyes can see. I'ma be me till the day I die. It's not me even need to cry. I'm gonna believe what I believe. With my faith I believe that Jesus needs. We gonna cut that out.
So see, that could be you. Look, and you know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna hire a publicist, and my dream is to get them on like the Tonight Show or Ellen DeGeneres or some kind of fun show like that. So pretty cool. Did they do a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got to re-record their song and everything.
That mic,
Yeah.
Elvis and Johnny Cash used that same mic that
Yeah, they got to re-record everything. So, okay, now we are going to learn about the Constitution. I know you're all so excited, but let's learn about what they were talking about. I'm sure you've already been learning. I know you have, because you know what the 16th Amendment is. Can you open your folder and find the blue piece of paper? And we're going to go through this quiz here. By the way, we spend a lot of money with publishing these folders and putting everything that's inside of them, so please take a look. And we have a wonderful gentleman who donates all these books. He does pay for them and donates the books, and now they're going to be in your classroom, so we hope you enjoy it. And by the way, Juliet spoke with me the second year, I believe, when I spoke here, and what she would say if she were here today, though today she's taking a test at her university, is that if she can do it, she started at 12 and finished it at 14. If she can do it, you can do it. And the only thing that's important about writing a book is finishing the book. It's finishing the actual task, but if she can do it, you can do it. Okay, you ready? Yeah. Number 1, the United States Constitution. What is it? A, the law of the land which all citizens and their representatives, legislators, presidents, and judges must obey. B, the law of the land which only unelected citizens must obey. C, a document that can be interpreted in any way to further a political agenda. Or C, declared our independence from Great Britain. Who has an answer for me? Yes. D. Actually, that's in the Constitution, but that's not what that's. Yes. A. Yes, it's the law of the land. So isn't it good? And thanks for participating. Yes.
This is an assignment, so fill it out. Okay.
Guys, you will give it to me when you leave the room.
Do y'all like
I want to
pencils,
collect
or are you like beyond that? We have to answer a question. Will you pass this back for me? Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. Okay, so guys.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, give me an answer. You get one. It's the law of the land. What, don't you? And that's thought-provoking, isn't it? If it's the law of the land, shouldn't we know what's in it? And it's the law of our government. So soon, who's voting? Anybody voting? Are y'all freshmen or sophomore? What are you? You're not quite voting yet? Well, you'll get to vote in the next election, unless someone's voting this election. But listen, if this is the government, if this is the law, shouldn't we know what's in it? And it's really not very complicated. It is only a few pages. Now you have the book for a study guide. We should know what's in it. But not only that, when you vote, you need to make sure the person that you're voting for, that they know what's in it. Believe it or not, there are a lot of representatives and senators and people in our federal government that don't know what's in the Constitution. Okay, number 2. The Constitution outlines 3 branches of government in Articles 1, 2, and 3. What are the 3 branches of government? Yes?
B.
B. You are correct. It's B. We're gonna run out of time for the other 2 classes. I know. Well, those are for like trick questions. Okay. Judicial, legislative, executive. How many articles are in? Okay, this is a playing card. Do we have any? Yeah, this is a playing card. Answer. How many articles are in the United States Constitution? Articles means chapters. Who said that? Very good. Do you want a pencil?
What do you say?
Oh, do you want the playing card?
I told you.
Okay. 7. Did you hear the answer? There are 7 chapters to the Constitution. Okay. Now, this next one's important. What order did our founders put them in? Alphabetical? Yeah. Legislative, executive, judicial? They really didn't care, or it was the way Gouverneur Morris wrote it.
B.
Very good. That was kind of a group answer. B. Legislative, they cared. They cared. Why did they care? Okay, so let's go through this. Article 1 is about the legislative branch. And y'all know that the legislative branch is the Congress, which is this thing called bicameral, which means there's a Senate and a House. Bi, 2, Senate and a House are in the legislative branch. They put that first for a reason. And the reason they put it first is because your representative, you're in the legislature, the House, lives close to you. They're right here in the precinct. If you sometimes look at the highway, you'll see representative exit here. You can see your representative lives in your area, in your district. And your senator lives in your state. Our founders never wanted the federal government to have all the power and for us to rely, because they're way over there and we're here. And we may need different things than, say, Wyoming needs or New York City needs, right? As a matter of fact, this applies to city government. You know where Arlington is? Mm-hmm. Well, Arlington, you can't text and drive. Euless, which is right next door, you can't. So everybody wants something different. We're not the same. We've become more of the same, but really, we in Texas may want something different than they want in New York. Let me give you an example. In New York City, you may have heard about this. The mayor of New York City, Mayor Bloomberg, when he was in office, passed a law that you could not drink a Big Gulp. Did you hear about that? Remember this? You know what a Big Gulp is? 7-Eleven. Yeah, you couldn't drink a Big Gulp because it was, too many ounces. They didn't think you should have that much sugar or whatever. Is that crazy? Let me ask, would we want that here?
No.
We wouldn't. Well, they ended up reversing it because it was done by committee. It wasn't even done the correct way. The people rebelled and they said, this is ridiculous. In other words, we all want different things. What they want in New York may not be something that we want here. They also said you couldn't have salt on the table. Yeah. So look, okay, do you see how you're responding? That's when the government starts telling you what to do, and you're like, what? No salt? But the great thing about the Constitution, and this is why it matters, the Constitution protects these rights to say, I want to have salt on my table. You know? Things like that. We can rebel, we can petition, we can assemble, things of that nature. So when you go to vote, is the president the most important vote? No. A lot of people think so today, right? We vote every 4 years for the president. In between the 4 years, 4 to 4 is a 2 year. Every 2 years is a midterm election. Midterm. My nephew is this honor student, this great kid, and he got in the car with me one year. He goes, "What's a midterm?" Hey, have you heard of a midterm? Midterms every 2 years. Please vote, and please vote every 2 years, not just every 4 years. Because the way they've structured the Senate and the House, every 2 years, and then in the Senate, it all they stagger. They don't get rid of the House at the same time. Everybody they don't get rid of everyone in the Senate at the same time. It's all staggered. So every 2 years, you have to vote for your senator and your representative. They are just as important, if not more, than the president. Our founders never wanted the president, Republican, Democrat, male, female, to be the most powerful person in the country. Why? Sorry. Because we end up with a dictator. Yeah. It's like communism. It's like a dictator. And what keeps that in check, believe it or not, is this pamphlet, is this Constitution, are the checks and balances to make sure nobody gets too powerful. There's this thing called the Federalist Papers. And there are 85 of them in the book. They call it the Federalist. And it was written by James Madison, John Jay, and Alexander Hamilton. And it was to describe and explain what was in the Constitution so that it could be ratified. And in it, they say men are not angels. Women, right? Men, women, general, men. Men are not angels. So what does that mean? What that means is when someone gets a taste of power, what do they want?
More power.
More. That's just human nature because we're not angels. So in other words, we have to do what we can with these checks and balances to make sure no one gets too powerful. Even the House, it doesn't get too powerful. President doesn't get too powerful. Judicial branch doesn't get too powerful. All these checks and balances. Okay. Number 4, I really, really like this one. All members of our Congress, the President, judges, and members of our armed forces must swear to protect. Yes. B, the Constitution. Very good. B, the Constitution. Now, does that surprise you, anybody?
Yeah.
Would you think it should be the people? Raise your hand if you think that they would swear to protect people. Yeah, it says the Constitution. Well, thank you. If you think about it, let's think about that for a minute. Because actually, I gave 75 speeches last year alone. So a lot of kids are like, wait a minute, why would they not swear to protect the people? That's kind of confusing. All right, let's think about that for a minute. Give me some names of some dictatorships across the globe. What? Right, North Korea. Huh? Right. Yeah, and then we have, where else? China. Don't think China's free. China may have they may have a more capitalistic economic engine, but they're still not free. They don't have, they can't say what they want to say always. Their internet is monitored. I did a movie in communist China. Russia? Well, they're kind of on the cusp. Yeah, they got a dictator, for sure. Let's see, Iran. A lot of people don't really realize Iran is a dictatorship because we just did this treaty with them. But Iran is a theocracy. It's run by a religious organization. So it's instead of having freedom of religion. Okay, well here's the point. The leader of North Korea gets up there and says, I swear to protect the people. But the people what? The people have to do what I say. Right, you don't have freedom of religion. You don't have freedom of speech. You can't say anything about the government. The press has to print what I want. So just because a dictator gets up there, or a leader even, let's just say our president got up there and said, I'll protect the people. But they're going to do what I say. Well, no, we have a constitution that says you may be the leader or you may be our representative, but you have to abide by these rules And there need to be checks and balances so that you never become that powerful. Because the minute somebody becomes that powerful, what do we lose?
Freedom.
Freedom. Very good. We lose all of our freedom. So that means next time you're at a ball game or something, or you see like the kids getting inducted into the Air Force, the Army, or the Marines, whatnot, and you hear them swear to protect the United States Constitution, you're going to go, aha, I get that now. Now, here's another thing, which is a little experiment we're going to do. What do we get? What are we in the middle of right now? Presidential election. We all survive it. Okay. So, we're going to have an election. He or she will become president, and when they're inaugurated, they will be sworn into office. So I want you to go into, and the oath they have to say is in the United States Constitution. So if you open your pocket Constitution from your book, and conveniently, and I can't get over how incredibly convenient this is, open up to the exact middle where like you can feel the staples. And go, you'll see the number 8. So it's, what branch of government, what article deals with the executive branch? What article? We went over this already. I'm waiting for an answer, a group answer. What article represents the executive branch? 2. Who said that? Very good. Article 2. So you're going to Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8. So you see that little 8? Pass that back. Y'all with me? You see the tiny 8 on the left-hand side? Who wants to come down and read the presidential oath? Be president for the day. Come on, who wants to volunteer? Come on down. Okay, all right. Section 8. Yeah, I can't really see because I have my contacts, but it's there. Okay, be quiet.
Before he entered on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States, and I will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yes! Very good! Do you have yet priors yet? Well, it's a t-shirt, a book, a pencil, or a CD. Make it quick, we got a lot to learn. Come on, he needs to answer. What do you want? Okay, there you go. Okay, what does it say? Let's say it together. Preserve, protect, and defend the what? The Constitution. Okay, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8. So now when you watch the inauguration, you're going to feel really, really smart, and you're going to know that they're swearing to preserving, protecting, and defending the Constitution. But believe it or not, a lot of them don't know that much about the Constitution, or they don't really care, which is not a good thing. Okay, so let's open up your book. I'm going to see. So now, if you read something in this Constitution and you don't understand what it means, you can go to Juliet's book. So everyone open the book to page 134. I'm going to show you how you can use this book as a cross-reference. Page 134. Are you page 134? Okay, so this is how she breaks it down. She actually puts the actual article, section, and clauses in sort of the antique paper, and then she breaks it down. The bottom line, what does that mean? Modern terms. What were they thinking? That means what were our founding fathers thinking? Are y'all paying attention? You are not open to page 134. Oh my goodness. Okay? What were they thinking? Why did our founders think this was important? Why should I care? Breaking it down is more detail for you. How can it make a difference, and what has it done for me lately? So, and what were they thinking? Is And she says here, our founders wanted to guarantee that the president would obey and protect the Constitution for future generations because the Constitution protects the people. All right, so now you know. If you can go to your pocket Constitution, and then you can go to this. And by the way, you mentioned the Declaration of Independence earlier. Abraham Lincoln talked about the fact that the Declaration of Independence was the golden apple. That was like, like the special golden apple. And the Constitution is the frame that surrounds that apple, like holds it up. So everything that's declared in the Declaration of Independence, which is like what? Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and things like that. That means nothing if we don't have a Constitution. So let's go back to those dictatorships, right? Let's think about Iraq right now. Iraq is a really great example. They declared their independence in Iraq. I say Iraq like a Texan. They declared their independence years ago. Remember they were voting and they had the dye on or it was Afghanistan, Iraq, they had the dye on their fingers, they were going peace. They declared their independence, they won the war, but what happened? They lost it. And ISIS came in. And now we're fighting it again. This happens over and over in history where we declare it like we did here, we win the war like we did here, but many countries can't keep it. And the reason they can't keep it is because they cannot unite. They cannot unite, and they don't have a rule of law. And so what George Washington realized, because when he was the general, back then all the states were very, very unique and different. And they all kind of were like, well, I'm not an American, I'm a South Carolina, I'm from South Carolina, and I'm not American, I'm from Massachusetts. And he had to get everybody united so we could win the war. And the same thing applies to the United States Constitution. The reason they went from the Articles of Confederation, which were not working, to the Constitution is because they realized there was not enough unity, there was not enough power in certain areas, and there was not enough unity to really govern. So this is a very important document, and it's the oldest written, in-use Constitution in the history of the world. So it's very, 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 very special. And also, it's just important to unite. And in this very divisive kind of culture we're in right now, it's important to remember that. We're going to come back to that, though. Okay, so number 5, what are our inalienable rights in the First Amendment? And if you were listening to the rap song, who's got the answer for me? It's religion, speech, press, the right to assemble, petition, or all the above? D, all the above. All the above. Okay, have y'all learned how to memorize that yet?
No.
Okay, I don't want to poke your eye out. There you go. Good catch. What kind of song were we just watching? Okay, R-A-P. Now do raps. R-A-P-P-S. Raps. Freedom of, what's the R? Freedom, what's the A? P? The other P? Petition or press, right? And the S? Speech. You can always remember the First Amendment rights by the raps, rap song, R-A-P-P-S. Now, number 6, what does unalienable rights mean? We hear that all the time. It's in the Declaration of Independence. We throw it out like we have unalienable rights. And this, once again, was declared in the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution preserves it. What's the answer? Yeah. B. We're born with our rights. A lot of people think what government gives us our rights. This is one of the most amazing founding principles in our country. It had been thought about in other countries at the time, but it had never been written down and declared like we did it here. Our rights are unalienable. We are born with them. Many people think, because the government's so big today and we focus so much on it, that the government gives us our rights. But if the government gives us our rights, we're right back to that dictator, right? What can the government do if the government gives us our rights? They can also do what?
Take it away.
Y'all are smart. Exactly. Take them away. Really important stuff. Really important stuff here. We're born with them. And this Constitution gives us an ability to govern ourselves through our representatives, which we're going to get to. Which, the next question. This is a group question. Raise your hand if you think we are a republic. Raise your hands if you think we are a democracy. You see, there are a lot more people that didn't vote at all. Let's do it again. Raise your hand if you think we're a republic. Raise your hand if you think we're a democracy. Okay, we are a republic. Now, there are a lot of aspects of our country that are democratic. Adults have this discussion all the time, whether we're a democracy or a republic. But our government is a Republican form of government. It's a republic. And what that means is, we the people, very soon in like a year, or the next midterm election in a couple of years, you can probably vote in that, because you can vote 2 years for the midterm. You don't have to wait to the presidency. You don't have to wait 4 years to vote. We rule through our representatives, through our vote. So remember that. You are empowered. We the people, you are empowered. Pay attention. If we don't pay attention, and if we don't know what's in our Constitution, we're not going to know what they're doing, and they can get up there in front of a microphone and tell us something, and we won't know if they're telling us the truth or not telling us the truth. Someone trying to come in. We don't know if they're trying to tell us the truth or not telling us the truth, because if we're not informed. Okay, now if you go home and if you have a debate and someone's like, I believe we're a democracy, I don't think we're a republic, all eyes are over there. We'll wait. Do y'all want a 7th inning stretch? You want to stand up and do something? Oh, come on. Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a word in there, and I want you to shout it out really, really loudly. Stand up. Here's your flag. Oh, there's the flag. 7th inning stretch. Okay, ready? Now there's going to be a word in there, and I want y'all to say it really loud so we can hear it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. What's that word? And to the what? Does it say to the democracy? No. Okay. All right, I like this one. Number 8. Is the Constitution for Republicans or Democrats? Who's taking the PSAT or the SAT?
It's not me.
Yesterday. Y'all are still standing. Y'all with me? Okay, y'all been really terrific. I really appreciate your attention. Now, this is a trick question. So, you know how at SATs there's a good answer and there's a better answer? Okay, when I first wrote this question, I had the good answer, and Juliet said, no, there's a better answer. So let's think it through. Is the Constitution for Republicans or Democrats? What's the answer? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yes. Republicans. Yeah, a lot of people think that.
Neither.
Neither. Very good. Do you have a pencil yet? You have a pencil? Do you have our pencil?
Not those.
Oh. I know you want our pencil. That's just so exciting, isn't it? Neither. Why is the answer neither? Thank you. Are y'all listening? Why is it neither? Very good. I'm glad you asked that question. The reason it's neither is because it's for everybody. It's not just for Republicans or Democrats. It is, of course, for them, but it's for independents, libertarians, socialists. If you don't vote, if you don't care, the Constitution's for everyone. As a matter of fact, when they wrote the Constitution, the party system didn't even exist. It didn't even exist. So, it's for everybody. Why? What was question number 1? Why? Because it's the law of the land. Yeah. It's for everybody. Okay. Now, when I was doing a radio show, I was a guest on somebody else's radio show, and I said, I want to talk to you about the Constitution. And you know what the host said to me? He said, oh, I don't like it. He said, oh, I don't like it. Yeah, you had to ask me if you what? Spell it. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I did ask him? Because you might get that. You might get someone that says, oh, the Constitution is just a Republican document or a Tea Party document. You might get somebody who says, oh, the Constitution, I don't like it. So you know what I respectfully asked him? Which part? Which part of the Constitution do you not like? Do you think he had an answer for me? No. Why? Yeah. It was just like a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I don't like it. Don't be that way. Don't be that way in anywhere in life, in any area. Don't have a knee-jerk response. Have a response that's rooted in knowledge and power. So you really, really understand it. So he didn't even know what was in it. Now, sometimes they will actually say something that they don't like, which leads us to our next question. What can be done if you don't agree with certain aspects of the Constitution? Yes. Exactly. Yeah, you can amend it. Great thing our founders did. You can amend it. Now, before I get to that, I want to talk to you a little bit about this divisive political atmosphere that we're in. Right? We are nonpartisan. What does that mean at Constituting America? It means we don't affiliate with any party, Republican or Democrat. But there's a lot of divisiveness going on in the country. You are the millennials. You are the next generation. I believe in you, and I really believe you can change the whole tenor of this country. You know what that means? The whole sound, the way that we're like dealing with one another. And that starts with remembering that it's our unity as a country that's the most important part of our country and the reason that we work. So, if you have political passions or something you really, really believe in, which we all do, and that's why we have our freedoms to have those passions, and that's why our vote matters. But if the person next to you doesn't believe the same thing, we shouldn't shut each other down, right? Let's take the time to try to remain calm and listen to what they have to say. And that person should say it in a nice, calm way. And then we can respond in life. We can have a national conversation, but it begins with you. It begins in this school. It begins in this classroom. It begins with the person sitting next to you. My daughter went to a school where 3% of the people believed like she did. 97% of the people really didn't believe the way she did. But she found that she could have a conversation with friends or even a non-friend and say, let's just talk. And they could walk away and actually realize that they could agree with each other maybe 10% of the time, maybe 20% of the time. Not on everything, but they could find some things they could agree about. That's how they wrote the Constitution. There were so many things they disagreed about. But they realized for the betterment of the country, they needed to unite and build a foundation. All right, yeah? You with me there? Y'all have some different political opinions in this school? Probably. We all do in our country. And that's okay. So respect the person for their belief, and because you want to be respected for your belief. Okay, moving on. Amendment process. There are two ways to do it. This is a gigantic trick question. If you get this, you get a copy of the book that Juliet wrote about our experiences at the ranch. I know you're excited about that too. Did you like Little House on the Prairie? Or she wrote another one. That was my horse. We talk all about our experiences. It's like Little House on the Prairie, which you guys might not be very excited about. But it's still funny. It's kind of like 20 minutes. Okay. There are two ways to amend the Constitution. Two ways. Who can tell me? Anybody know? Yes. Hey, I'm sorry, what's that?
Petition.
Well, that's how it starts, and I'm really glad you said that. Do you have a pencil yet? We're going to talk about petitioning the government. Yeah? Who said that? That's a part of it. It's all a part of it. Okay. What's that? He does. You don't have to. Okay, so we're on the right track here, but let me give you the answer. There are two ways to amend the Constitution, which is, by the way, is a beautiful thing. Y'all can start it. Do you know the 27th Amendment was started by a college kid, not too much older than you, at the University of Texas? It's Amendment 27, which means what it talks about is the fact that our congressmen and women can't raise their pay in Congress and then get it during that term. They have to wait till the next term. Because he didn't like it that they could actually raise their pay and then get that pay raise. It seemed a little weird, right? Believe it or not, that was one of the first 12 Bill of Rights. But it didn't pass 200 some odd years ago. If you go to the National Archives and you look at the Bill of Rights, there were initially 12. and that was one of them. But it was started by a college kid, 18, 19, 20 years old at the University of Texas. So don't think if there's something that you don't like about the government, you can't start a petition, which then turns into an assembly, which then turns into your freedom of speech, which then you go to the press. You see how that works? That's how it works. You can do a petition today. It's not some old document you put it on a church wall. You can do a petition and put it at gopetition.com. Then you can put it out there on social media. You can do it. If there's something you don't like. There are a lot of things people don't like right now. They want term limits. You know, originally the president could be the president for as long as he wanted, but that became an amendment, limiting the president to only 2 terms after federal FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I would get that wrong. Roosevelt, I think. FDR. After FDR, they decided they only want the president to be 2 terms. A lot of people want our congressmen and women to have 2 terms. A lot of people want a balanced budget. I want the page numbers of the bills in Congress not to be 2,000 pages, but to be like 30 pages. We all have something that we might want. There may be something you want. That's what's so great. This document gives you the power at your age. You don't have to wait to vote. You can start a petition now. You can call your representative. But that all leads to the amendment. 2 ways to do it. One's through Congress. So you go to Congress passes it, and then it has to be ratified by the states. Majority, 3 3/4 of the states. It's 2/3, 3/4, right, Mr. Cherry? Mrs. Watkins? It's 2/3 and 3/4. 2/3 of the Congress passes it, and then 3/4 of the states has to ratify. You know what ratify means? Approve it. They have to approve it. Are y'all with me? We only have one more question, and I'll show you another video. Okay, so one way is through Congress, but our founding fathers were amazing. You know what else they said? What if Congress doesn't want to limit their pay? I mean, their terms. What if they want to be able to serve 30 years or 50 and they don't want to? What if Congress doesn't want to balance their budget? This is how the checks and balances are so amazing in our Constitution. They give it back to us. They give it back to the people. And they say, we can call a convention of states through our state legislatures. It gives the power back to the states and back to us. That may happen. They're working on it right now. You have to call 2/3 of the states together for this convention, wherever they want to have it. They can pass a balanced budget amendment, and then 3/4 of the states have to say yes. So essentially, Congress can do it, or we can call it, independent of Congress, through a convention of states. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. And what that does is it gives it back to us. If the men and women that we've elected in Congress don't do what we want, we can go to our state legislatures, because we have a state government. By the way, every state government has to be a republic to match our federal government. Okay, are y'all just having the best time? Okay, last question. True or false? Are our men and women in Congress paid? True. Who pays them? Through what? Taxes. Through your paycheck. So, once you start to vote, you can petition, you can call them, you can email them, you can do whatever you want. Very important to remember that you are voting for them and you are paying them. Once again, you're empowered, right? Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of clips in closing. This is our public service announcement, which was done by a sophomore in high school. This has now been aired at 2 million homes, and it's Laura Lee Hicks from Mississippi. Listen to what she has to say, talking about, wouldn't you want to know what's in it?
If you had something that you were given, something you loved, something that others wanted so badly but were denied it, something that you used and relied on every single day. If you had something special, something beautiful, something powerful, if you had something absolutely essential to securing your health, happiness, and safety, if you treasured something so much that you were willing to die for that something, if you knew that others already had, and if someone had given you a document that protected that something, wouldn't you take the time to read it?
Isn't that good? And she was the girl in the initial video that says, Mom, you know, my PSA is on the TV. Now, we have lots of winners. You can go to constitutionamerica.org and listen to a lot of music. We have a lot of great music, but we also have a lot of PSAs. This is actually her brother who won, and I showed this. By the way, there's a disclaimer: don't walk on a train track. Okay, but look at the shots that he's done. He did a lot of them with a drone, I guess. He really did, and both of these PSAs have been accepted at film festivals too.
How did we slip off that great track, that which other nations lack? Why did we seek to walk away, no longer caring what founders say? Could we read it, arrogant, read of all our rights within? Constitution is its name, our nation's rulers it contains. Read how we take our nation back, stand our flag upon the track.
See, look at that shot, the ending shot. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So, I don't know what Sherry wants to do now, but we have about 10 minutes. Do you want to, I can show you more clips, or y'all can ask questions, or whatever Mr. Cherry wants.
Do you have any questions in general about entering the contest or the Constitution or anything?
No questions about the Constitution? You have a question? You don't?
Yeah, you do.
Yes. Hang on, I know, what's that? Anything that I don't like about the Constitution? Well, that's a really good question. If you open up your folder, there is a piece of paper here, right here, Article 1, Section 8. Do you see that? Pull that out. Article 1, what does Article 1 deal with again? Which branch of government?
Legislative.
Legislative, very good. The Constitution is what they call enumerated. What does that mean, enumerated? Can you tell me what enumerated means? What's in there? Number, enumerated? Numbered, yes, exactly. Exactly. I was like, what does that mean? Enumerated. Which means, you're going to hear that, you'll hear about the Constitution is enumerated. That means the powers in the Constitution are very limited. Very, very limited. As a matter of fact, initially they didn't want the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, habeas corpus and the right to bear arms and all those amazing things about the trial and jury and, of course, our First Amendment. They weren't originally in the Constitution, and James Madison didn't think it was necessary, nor did Alexander Hamilton, because the powers in here were so limited that they never believed if you followed the Constitution and stay limited to these powers, those rights would never be threatened. But they put it in anyway, and as it turns out, it's probably a pretty good thing. Okay, but to answer your question, let's look at here. This is all the powers the legislative branch is supposed to have. Deal with tax. See, it's TCC, NCC, PCC, PON, Mama, Run. So you kind of come up with a little rhythm with that. TCC, NCC, PCC, PON, Mama, Run. Taxes, credit, commerce, naturalization, coinage, counterfeiting, post office, copyright. That's cool. You know what that does? You know what copyright does for you? You can own the rights to your works. But before we had our Constitution, if you lived under a king or if you lived under a dictator, if you invent something or create something, start a business, who owns it? No. The government, the dictator. But what does copyright give you? The rights to own your works for a limited time. Really cool. That's the reason America just like exploded. Because suddenly we could reap the benefits of our work. If we do all of our work and someone else gets everything, what does that do to our motivation? We're not very motivated anymore to do anything, but we're inspired if we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor, so to speak. The courts, piracy, Army, War, Navy, militia, Washington DC rules, and necessary and proper. Okay, so you ask if there's anything I might want to change. Necessary and proper. I might want to define that a little bit. Necessary and proper has been one of the reasons that our government's gotten so incredibly big. And the bigger our government gets, the less freedom that we have. So I might amend that a little bit. Can anybody tell me something that you might want to change about the government? That's one of our essay prompts, as a matter of fact. Anything that you might want differently? Corruption. Yeah. You said that? You got a pencil. Isn't that exciting? Good catch. Corruption. I don't know how you do that with an amendment, though. How would we do that with an amendment? Well, let's talk about that. He says corruption is something he'd like to change. How can you start corruption in the government, right? With the paper? Right. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, well, how can we amend the Constitution to limit their corruption? But you can't in a way, right? No, well, I understand it, but let's not talk about drugs. Let's talk about maybe if we limited the amount of years they could be in office, they'd behave a little bit better. We could limit their terms. Yeah, but they might be on their toes a little bit more if they know they can't be there that long. That's one way. Another way is we can make them stick to a budget so they don't do all these things that cost money. That might be some are good, some are bad. We can do a balanced budget amendment. What else could we do for corruption? It's kind of a real thought-provoking question. Here, I know. Okay, one major way to limit corruption is to make sure they follow the laws. But can we make sure they follow the laws if we don't know what the laws are? Okay, let me say that again. If they're being corrupt, what's the best way to stop that corruption? Make them follow the laws. To investigate and make them follow the laws. But can we make them follow the laws if we don't know what they are? We have to know what the laws are to then make sure that they're following the laws. What's that?
Man, you're not supposed to speed, but people do it anyway, so.
Yeah, but think of how bad and out of control it would be if we didn't have subsource speed.
The point is people still do it. You can make all the laws regardless of something.
Well, I understand.
We're choice to do that because we're free.
But, you know what? Well, I'll end with this. Patrick Henry has a great quote. Remember, you know who was Patrick Henry? We talked about it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
Give me liberty or give me death, Patrick Henry. He also said, and this applies to you, right? Because I don't want you to feel like it's the worst thing to feel. The worst thing to feel is like it doesn't matter. Like there's no difference you can make. You can make a difference. And this is what Patrick Henry said. Are we going to lie supinely on our backs, clutching the elusive phantom of hope? Or are we going to be a people of action? So we can be a people of action and say, we can't just hope that people become good or do what's right. We need to know what the laws are so we can make sure they abide by the laws, so that because if they abide by the laws, then they probably won't be corrupt. And if the laws aren't enough, we can initiate movements for more laws. And that's all within our power. But if we give up, and if we just say, oh, whatever, then it's like not disciplining a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. If we don't discipline them, they'll be all over the place, right? We have to have some rules. So we can't give up.
Thank you very much. I do also want to thank you for your attention you're giving and the wonderful questions you asked. When the bell rings, that's when you're dismissed, which should happen in about a minute or two.